So welcome to the revisiting how to organize a Drupal event in your city or country session. This is a panel where we're going to discuss Drupal camps, events, meetups, and experiences. Also, how it's affected our communities after COVID as well. Well, my name is Pedro Cambra, and I'm part of the Spanish community. I was part of the original first Drupal camp organizing team in Spain, and I've been involved ever since. A Drupal camp is not one thing. It's many things, and there's a DrupalCon that we are all standing here right now, which is a pretty big event. We have the Drupal Dev Days, which was originated in 2010, I think, which is rotating location, it has sprints. We have another events that we know that always happen, like the Portuguese community has a Drupal Day, there's a Drupal Camp Spain. In France, there's the Drupal Jam in Netherlands, Drupal Camp Poland, Drupal Camp in Germany, the Baltic Drupal Camp. Those are like the ones that actually we could think of that we know that happen every year. That's too new. Drupal Iberia is too new.
Okay.
And then we have also other events like the Montaña camp and the Drupal camping that they do in Germany. Those are kind of special events because they are, focusing in other activities besides the Drupal stuff. A Drupal camp can be many different things depending on the status of the Drupal development workflow. Many of them include sprints, but this is not necessary. It can be a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day event. There's organizations that change the city every year or the place where they organize it. There are communities that don't do that. And then there are also dedicated sprints from time to time, local groups and meetups. So there's a very different background, very different spirit of organizations depending on where the event happens and when the event happens, and so it's not always one thing. So there's the panel discussion that we're going to start now. So I would like our panel to introduce themselves, if they will. We have a mic down there.
Yeah, no,
I thought we all had one.
There's only one mic, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm first then. I'm Cristina. I'm from Barcelona, Catalan Drupal Association. Although, yeah, I can. It's a good relationship, the one that we have with the Spanish Association. And yeah, I'm also doing a lot of Drupal core contribution and Drupal Starshot and other stuff, contributions.
I'm Anne-Sophie. I'm from the French community. Organize Drupal camps since in the last 10 years, I think.
And I'm Esmeralda Tayov, and I'm from the Netherlands. I'm now organizing the Splash Awards, and we've got Drupal Jam in the Netherlands, which is a very successful camp, Drupal camp kind of thing. And I'm with the NEDA, the Network for the European Associations, and with that we have a lot of discussions about camps and about the difficulties we see and the solutions we see and the opportunities that are there for the newcomers to get into camps and get into organizing.
So hello, my name is Ricardo. I'm from the Portuguese Drupal Association. We've been organizing, our first camp was 2011, and since then we've been organizing Drupal days And last year we did the Drupal Iberia, which was a joint thing with a Spanish association, which is really interesting, and we'll keep doing that. I think that this effort of revisiting is important to do, and we're very small, very little people here that we have today, but we should try to expand this and make this knowledge known, because it's not being discussed for a long time, and we have new ideas that should be put out there, that should be discussed, that should be improved with time. That's my start.
Nicholas is also part of it.
Hi, sorry, yeah, I missed the moment getting a chair, sorry. Thanks. Thank you so much, Ricardo. So yeah, my name is Niklas, I'm from the German community. I'm not from the official German Drupal Association, but I talked to a couple of people already about that. It's we have a lot of very, very high ambitions in Germany to be active in the community, and sometimes active members are not part of the DA. And in Germany, that's the case. And I'm organizing the Drupal camp in Berlin later this year, and also organizing the Splash Awards for a couple of years in Germany, which is kind of a joint effort together with the Austrian community.
Okay, so we have a round of questions and things to discuss. So we have a question on to kick off this, and that is, what is one thing that you would choose that is a key part of a Drupal community event? If you choose one thing, what thing would that be that is imperative?
I think the money, getting sponsors in, because if you got the money, then you can rent the venue, and then you can actually get lunch or food for everybody, and maybe pay for speakers. So I think getting sponsors in is a key. Yeah.
It's also the team to organize the events. It's also a huge pleasure, and it's really nice to organize something together. So with a great team, it's always a great event.
Yeah, you said what I was going to say. The team, it's basically the key. But probably the second thing is recurring events. Probably is the best way to reach people, because it's going to keep happening. So even though you don't always have the same people, it's going to still be a way so that others find the community.
I think from my point of view, it's promotion, because that's kind of like my background, and I noticed in a lot of camps that I attended that promotion is something that not many people have on their radar yet. And I think there's a lot that you can do, giving away free tickets, doing like raffles, and trying to really create like awareness in the digital space so that people are interested in joining because they see who else is joining and had a ticket and stuff like that. And I feel like the associations already have a lot of like contacts, a great network to the community, but that is something that I think can be used more in order to make camps attractive.
I think that we should start with the community, not with the money, sorry. Because if we start with, securing the space, and I think that's a very important point, to secure the venue. We've been able to secure venues, for free. So if we secure a venue for free, which is doable, you have universities, and we're talking about, we're not talking about Drupal con size things, which you definitely have to have sponsors. If we want to do, like bar camps, Drupal camps, meetups, you can secure that for free, right? Now, for that, the most important thing is community. And I think more important than that is refreshing the community, which means that our community, and we see, by looking at each other, we've been, mostly maybe there are new people coming in, but it's not enough that we can say, okay, we're rejuvenating ourselves, right? So, and we've been trying to do something that we actually had some kind of success, which is coming back to the basics, which is coming back to open source and to our roots, to the first people that actually start hacking Drupal, because that's how it was born, right? The fun of hacking and the fun of, you know, doing playful things with it. And there are other communities that find Drupal actually a good playground. And we saw that last year when we did a joint thing with the National Free Software Association. So,
is there someone that changed their mind? Do you want to?
Well, I just thought about it from a practical view. Like, I want to start with, I'm going to get the Dev Days to Holland. What am I going to do? I need a venue. I need people who are supporting this event, and I need like a budget. So I'm going to go like, hi, Dutch Association. Can you give me a starter's amount, or can you be like guaranteed that if I go down, you will pay up? So, and that's fun. I think finances make everything easier. But you start, of course, with getting the people on board, and then you go from there. So the organization is very important, getting the people putting in their times. But we at Holland, we don't have enough volunteers. We don't have enough people. So we're looking at the companies, the partners of the Dutch Association, and we're going to ask, like, could you please send somebody and give them a contribution day once a week or once every 2 weeks, so that they can put in efforts on the boss's time to organize stuff like this. So it's a community. You're all right. You're all, yes, it is. But money would make it more easier. That's it.
So maybe there's a difference in kind of cultures of countries and everything, where getting a venue is easier than other, because we have the experience, like, for example, in Drupal Camp Sevilla last year, even if it was free, it wasn't really free, because you have to pay staff, you have to pay like cleaning, whatever fee that the venue has for them to be free as well. So maybe there's a difference. How was your experience getting a free venue?
Well, let me tell you that I don't have experience getting a free venue, but that's also due to the fact that, and that's unfortunately, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time, changing the location every time, because of course you want to empower the local communities to be active and to also be represented, but if you change the location every year, you always need to start from scratch with the venue. And we make the same experience with the Splash Awards. When we did that in Hamburg, we just did that in our office, so it was for free. And then, of course, you go into the same calculation in the next year, and all of a sudden, there are like 5,000 euros extra on the list, because all of a sudden, a venue that you then need in another city costs money. And I think that is something that every association and every country and every community has to kind of like find out for themselves, how much money do we actually have, in order to maybe say, hey, our country is maybe also a little bit smaller. It's not that far of away for everybody, so we might as well just stay at the same location every year. For example, I think in the Netherlands with Drupal Jam, you have like an amazing agreement with the location, because you come back for like 15, 20 years. And we unfortunately don't have that in Germany. And that is a crucial point in the setup of the whole organization.
Well, we have thought about changing the location, but having the same location for so long, they know us, and it saves so much time and there's so much money. And that's actually why we stick with them. And they're wonderful, because they know what we need, and they just, I don't know how you say it, but I think it will cost another person coming in to help organizing is if we change locations. It's that much more work. Yeah.
Can I? So in France, we didn't done an event in the same place twice. Each time we are changing cities, and it's interesting also to renew the organization team. Each time we have a local person and at least one local person in the city, and the other can be remote and work remote together. So it's also the ability to have new people to involve in the organization and to take time to to have time to between each event, and we had also free venue and very different kind of location. Sometimes it's really free, sometimes it's cheap, sometimes it's really not cheap, and sometimes it's between. Like in Sevilla, I think it for Montpellier in the Drupal Dev Day, it was in the big university, but it was really cheap. But we had to pay for the Wi-Fi. We had to pay for, and it was sometimes it's harder to organize to have a free venue than something more expensive. And sometimes it's also nice to have something. We had real small events in Brittany, and it was free, and we have Wi-Fi, and it was all organized for small events. So it really depends, I think.
Yeah, for us in Barcelona, I think we've been doing every event in the same place since 20.
Yeah, like the.
Third.
If you've been for DrupalCon in 2008 in the community, you've been in this place. It's called the City Lab, and that's
In
the house of
Cornellà,
that was the house of Drupal in Barcelona. We've been doing stuff in there for ages.
Yeah. There were companies working in there, and that was it made everything easy. I'm not sure if today would be as
It's a
easy.
public place. It's a technology hub, but it was never free.
It was for Drupal.
It was free for a Drupal day, right?
Drupal Day, the
For
two
Drupal day was free,
that we did.
because we didn't charge tickets for that.
That's true.
Sorry, since you mentioned tickets, that's just something that I want to pick up, because I think sponsors are more crucial than like any income that you can generate with the tickets, because the ticket price for the camps usually is so low that it is actually irrelevant for securing the event, at least from my point of view, because the costs are usually very intense, and then having ticket prices between like 50 and 70 euros usually cover like the variable costs, like the food, the drinks, and maybe a shirt or something. And then sponsors and getting the whole thing kind of like also more accessible, more inclusive, I would say is the ratio of how to generate money for the event is like 70% sponsors and then maybe 30% tickets. And this way, if you approach it this way, then you can also think of like cheaper ticket prices for the matter of making the event more like giving more attendees or generating more collecting, or how you say, attracting more attendees to the event. I think that's also very important, that all the effort kind of pays off, because it's just a lot of people, a lot of community exchange, which leads to more contributions, which leads to well, you name it. I don't have to list it up. We are at the DrupalCon here for community purposes. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to raise any questions here, but I feel this is more than just a practical way of, technical way of doing things. It's also like an ideological theme, right? How was Drupal? How did the Drupal community appear, right? How do we appear, right? In 2008 or even before that, we appeared because people were passionate, right? If we start with that, right, and engaging other communities like we've been trying to do, right? Now we have a new, younger team member, which is even contributing this year to organize a Drupal Day, which actually is in a university for free, right? because we engage with other communities, right? And these people, they were not aware of what Drupal is, and even of its existence, right? Mm. So I'm talking about, you know, in this case, the blockchain community or the Ubuntu community, you know, all these free software, all these open source projects that, you know, are part of our ecosystem, and we don't even, you know, cherish them. We're just, you know, I would dare to say, we're a little bit siloed, right? We tend to be, you know, Drupal is the thing, right? Maybe some events we try to, you know, call Typo 3, which is another CMS, or some other CMSs. But what we did, for instance, in Drupal Europe was amazing, right? We even called Nextcloud, right? How good is that, right? And we should do that, right? But when we organize an event, right, it's difficult if we don't have this fragile ecosystem of other communities inside of open source. They are passionate about what they do. That's what we should be thriving for first, before the money. It's passion, right? Any team that you have in your company will work better, will work more motivated with passion than with money. And this is the thing that we've been, you know, targeting for a while, right? And we forget our roots. At least that's my roots. I don't know about everyone in this room, right? So just to end here, and a key thing when we're organizing an event is at least the keynote has to be, like the keynote that we had just this morning, right? Has to be someone that drives passion on what they do, right? And brings something new to the community, right? And we should do the opposite, which is bring people, or try to get to these people that are in other communities out there, right? I mean, we totally forgot the Linux community, right? Most people here use Macs or Windows or whatever, right? But I remember in 2008, right? That was a completely different panorama we had in DrupalCon, right? Where, you know, you had, what was his name? CHX, you know, he was always playing around with his Linux everywhere. Everyone remembers how it was, right? We've lost that, right? We should go back to this and have this feeling of not so much of an enterprise, you know, posture, but a mix of that, like they do in KubeCon. In KubeCon, they had this year in Paris, I think it was 2,000 young people. Sorry, 12,000 young people, 12,000, and 18,000 in the US, right? Where do these people come from, right? They should come here.
That's a Kubernetes conference?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just wanted to make a point here, a small point that I think it's great and it sounds really good what you're saying, but we need to be realistic on which people can actually provide free labor, and it's usually people that has time to do that, and we need to be aware that money is actually, as she was saying, important because there's not always.
They shouldn't be paid.
Let me finish 1 second. I know. No, passion is perfect, but we need to be aware of which kind of people can actually provide this time. And I think that's important to be aware of that, and that's why she was saying that getting all these extra people that are from companies that are getting their time paid, it's also important, and we need to be aware that even though there is going to be really young people motivated to go and come and do things for free, we need to be aware that not always is going to be like that. So I think it's really good that there is people with passion. We need to be, I think we learned that over time, contribution it's not always free. And we need to be aware of that lack of diversity that involves.
And I want to touch on the merging of communities, because it was very common for Drupal events to happen in the frame of other events. I remember FOSDEM being Drupal very, very, very large. I remember going to a Toulouse event that had like 10,000 people, and there was a Drupal, a small Drupal area for that. It was like a free software event. I don't remember the name. And how often do you think this is happening right now? Maybe we've lost that?
Yeah. So I just wanted to make myself clear. It's like, maybe I didn't pass my idea. I'm talking about passion first and everything after that, right? Because, I mean, if you invite someone from a company that it's, you know, the only interest that this person has is to, you know, maybe get the money and forget about the subject for the rest of the year, which happens often. I've seen that. Okay, I go there, I do the work, I contribute that, I put my time there, I get the money, and that's the only thing that motivates this person, right? Then I think the other person that might not work as well as this person, but has more passion, right? And still can have the same kind of money, still can contribute the same kind of time. Maybe it's not so good, but I think we should be trying to find out where, because in the long run, these are people that will strive more time, even in times that are not so great, right? Where things are difficult, right? Where we don't have enough money to keep things going, which happens, right? If you don't have that recipe, then it's fine, right? You choose that for the community. It's a decision, right? I'm just pointing out this is really important that we keep in mind that they should be passionate about it. Okay?
I think it's not a competition, but you need both people. I don't care why they are coming to DrupalCon. Just come and show up, and I will give you the passion. When you show up to the festival, to the conference, or to Drupal Jam, will make you enthusiastic about Drupal. Maybe you just show up because the boss gives you a free day to go there, or pays your ticket, and you can go on the.
That's fine.
Yeah, you would show up, and then we can show like this is actually the community. Yeah, but the first time I went to Drupal Jam, I was just making money. I'm coming to Drupal to make a living. I'm not coming to Drupal because I knew what it was. I just came there because my boss was like, we were using Drupal. I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn Drupal. And that's how you start. That's how most people start. And I think with this new generation, you know, life is hard and time is valuable, very valuable. So you start with getting money in. And then you learn like, oh, there's a community. And then you learn like, oh, it's a fun community. And then you learn like, oh, maybe I can do something. And then I go to my boss, can I do something while I'm at work? And she's like, no.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Dutch government, so, and she says no. But then, you know, I'm a passionate person, your persona that you would like. And so I do it in the evenings. But I'm still like, don't tell her, is this recorded? I'm still doing it in process time. Anyway, so...
we won't tell.
Yeah. But that's how you start. You need to come. You need to get the people in, and I don't care why they come in. Just get them in. And I like your idea. Like if you've got the money secured, then we can lower the prices for the students or whatever, and up the prices for all the companies that are coming in and get increased. I think our board member Bert Boerland, he was talking about it's not about the money, but the money actually makes the event for the community. So the community comes first. But to serve them, you need the financial stability coming from the sponsor. So the sponsors are allowed to come up to Drupal Jam, and they go all out. They're gonna be like, oh, I'm a very interesting company. Look at me, come work for me. And they've got like booth that says you can have a race car. And last year they had a bowling alley, and there was this how you call it? You can catch ducks. And there's a very fun way, just like we see here, a very fun way for the companies to show themselves, and that's why they come. And now, I don't think they can even withdraw, because it would send a message like, you're not sponsoring Drupal Jam anymore? What is wrong with your company? Are you in a bad weather? You know, so it's, well, so I think, you know, focusing on money and marketing might not be your cup of tea, but I think it's an important element.
Can let's move the mic around, Ricardo, please.
Because I didn't understand if the money was for the people attending or for the organizers.
But the organizers, all our organizers are volunteers.
Okay,
So
they're passionate.
yeah, they're very passionate. But 1 year after COVID, we tried to do the Drupal Jam again, and the organization was like, oh.
Yeah.
And because we had a financial basis, we could actually hire somebody for a very low price. Please do the Drupal Jam for us, because you don't want a year that is not happening.
Yeah.
We need continuity, so it helps.
And I think just maybe to make like one final point, and then we can continue to the question you were actually asking, is that I think one crucial element in the community is that we should not exploit kind of like passionate people on a long term, because we've seen a lot of community members like directly running into burnout and into overwork because they were they had too less financial support and support from the corporations to do community work, so they did everything in the evening, and that goes well for like 2 years, maybe 3 years. Some people maybe even endure that for a longer period of time, but at some point they are just burned out and then they leave the community, and I think that's way worse than finding a way to make them work with the support that they need, so they can be passionate, but they still are not kind of like doing that on their own personal expenses.
And we're seeing that for Drupal core and CMS and all. We're seeing that now in all branches of what makes a community, right? So why don't do it in events? I think that's a good point. I would like to, at this point, maybe get some questions from the audience, if there's anyone that wants to comment something. Yeah, let's pass the mic here and then on the back.
Sorry. No, I would just wanted to say about having a fixed location, because you talked about it earlier. I would also argue that sometimes it's bad to stay in the same place. I loved going to Davos for Mountain Camp this year, but it's a very expensive and remote location. And so most companies cannot send you there. And so as an individual, I'm not going to be able to go back ever. I don't think so. And having it in winter makes it, of course, all the more expensive. So, for example, in that case, I would expect maybe that camp to sometimes move, at least season, because in summer it's probably cheaper, or location sometime, because it makes it very hard to go there. And to the point, of course, we're in the same community, so we have the same vision, but I think local companies, small agencies, they don't have a lot of budget. They can send maybe one person to one conference a year. But if you come to their city, then they don't have to pay transportation, lodgings. They can pay just for the ticket. They can even maybe sponsor a booth, which they cannot do normally. So every time we go to a different region, then we reach new people. And those people that cannot attend normally, they come to the event. So it's a different approach, depends on the size of your country, of course. Mm-hmm. But for us, we've always done that. And so every time we see new people that have been in the community, but not in person to network, because budget is an issue, especially nowadays. So yeah, that was just my point.
1 second. No, that's... Yeah. Okay, let's pass to a quick answer from Ricardo, if possible.
Yeah, I think, what's your name? So Maria, I do recognize that we had exactly that scenario where people, this company didn't have enough money to take a lot of people to the con, and they talked with us in the association and said, okay, how about we do the opposite? Like, we offer our space, and they had a great space, and we took some sessions. We organized the Drupal day there, a full event, right? With their help, right? And yeah, I recognize a lot in that. So they couldn't go to DrupalCon. Yeah, so they invite us to go there and do the event there with their own space. Yeah, just wanted to say that.
Yeah, it's just like a little question, simple question that I wanted to like check and compare a little bit, no, because the different communities may have different size, and for example, in Portugal, Drupal camp might have X number of assistants, and maybe in Holland or in France, right, or in Spain. So to have a bit more of context of each one, like what kind of size of communities, because this might affect like everything basically, no? So maybe you can answer a little bit that.
Shall we start over there?
So I don't know how big the community is, like how many Drupal developers are around, but I do know like for the Drupal Jam, there's like 350 to 400 people showing up, and most of them are coming with their companies. So, and I think that's it's not very easy to come in your own time, because then you need a free day and you need to buy the ticket and the transport. So most people just come in the company's time, and it's like 350 people. The community is way larger, but I don't know. It's every year, yeah. And we have got a Splash Awards, and we just did a business meetup with like 40 people, but that's all CIO, so like the suits.
Yeah.
So in France, we have maybe 30 people in the a member of the association. Yeah, individual member, and maybe 10 enterprise companies. Last year we had an event with 250 people. The previous event was 300, before it was 100. And sometimes we had meet up with 10 people. So it really depends on the events.
Yeah, Catalan association is a little bit inactive, so maybe it's your turn about the Spanish
The
ones.
Drupal camp Spain is around 300, and we did the Iberia with the nice folk of the Portuguese community, and it was 70 people this year, which is an effort, a joint effort between neighbors, which I hope to see more. And it was great, but yeah, it's like if we do a day, it's around 70 to 100. If we do 2-3 days, it's around 300.
Germany differs also a lot. I think last year, where I was not involved in the organization, it was a camp in the western part of Germany, which actually contains 20 million people living there. So it's like a quarter of the whole population. But I think the camp had like 60 attendees. And this year in Berlin, we are aiming for 200. Mm-hmm. But what we also try to do is we try to encourage international communities to join by offering at least 50% of the content in English. And since Berlin is close to Poland, it's close to Slovenia, also Austria is not that far away, and we are trying to actively involve other communities to join, which is why we are aiming for 200 people this year. Let's see if we can make it. And the Splash Awards in Germany and Austria, they take place since 2017 each year. And they are, I think, the event that has the biggest amount of attendees in Europe. But it is usually around 70 to 90 people. So it's still also not that like big as event.
Thanks. What's your name? Gil. So I think you made a great point there, because there are different sizes here. And that's probably one of the reasons why we have different perspectives, right? Because depending on the population and the numbers tell us always what's going to be the result. And in Portugal, we actually are a small community, right? And that's probably why I say what I say, right? Because it is an important factor when you don't have so many companies which are involved with Drupal, right? And you don't have this paying ecosystem. You need to try to get that from some other place, right? And then for people attending, we normally have around 50 to 70, maybe 80 people attending the Drupal day. While in Drupal.org, I see that active, we have around 200, right? Active, right? So I guess this is you know, the shift. When you, I don't know which number is, but when you surpass some number in terms of companies and in terms of community that will be able to sustain that in a different way, then that's where probably we start to see a different mindset coming in. Yeah, good point.
And sorry, just one thing to add there, because I'm not sure how it is in the other countries, but in Germany it is at least the case. We do have a lot of companies working with Drupal, but the community is, I think, very, very big in Germany, but 80% of them are like individual people building stuff with Drupal. So they are using it, but they are not that active in like, because there's also no one behind them saying, hey, go to that conference here, I pay you the ticket. So everyone has to pay for their own expenses. And I think this is also like a huge barrier for people to attend. But I would consider the community in Germany as big, even maybe bigger as in Spain. So I would usually also think we would get easily above 300 attendees. But the reality is different, unfortunately.
So yeah, I think we need to move on because we can be here talking about this all day, I think. We're all very passionate people. So I'm going to move forward. We have a few slides, especially to give a little bit advertising of the upcoming events. Being the next one in Portugal.
So yeah, you are all invited. In Aveiro, it's just coming next in 11th of October. We're going to have the Drupal Day Portugal. It's in the nice city of Aveiro. We call it the Venice of Portugal. And yeah, it's organized with a free software festival there, where we have, you know, a lot of other communities, and they are getting curious about us. So come and join us. It's for free.
Awesome. I got the video from Drupal Camp AI but it's not working. Yeah, there's an AI camp in London coming up, 24th of October. Okay, but there's no Drupal Camp AI.
Yesterday I saw it move.
Okay, so move on.
So we have, we will check on that. Thank you. We have Drupal Camp Spain in Benidorm, and first we are going to do in a hotel, which is going to be an interesting experience because we are going to have a taste of a very different venue. We always done universities and technology hubs, so we're going to see how this works. So 25th and 26th of October. There's also Drupal Camp in Scotland. I'm not sure if anyone here has anything to do with that, but they do very scarce events, and this happens on 25th of October. I think we're talking about a very small size, but very interesting event. Then we have Drupal Week Berlin.
Yeah, so that visual is still an old one. I have an updated one by now, but I missed switching the slide. We have the Drupal Week Berlin. That's important to say, because what we wanted to do is we wanted to gather as much Drupal content as possible in a couple of days to make people kind of like, to make the way worth. Because, for example, I would always love to visit the Drupal Day in Portugal, but it's for me, it's like super hard to fly in for one day and then fly out again. So for this reason, we announced the Drupal Week, and the Drupal Week includes a Drupal Business Day, which will be a suit-ish event, but not quite. And then it will be taking place on the 7th of November. Then we have the evening of the 7th of November, the Splash Awards. Then we have 8 and 9, the Drupal Camp Berlin. And then on the 10th, there's just an open contribution day. So it's 4 days Drupal content. Yeah, happy to see you there. The submission period for the call for sessions ends on September 30 for the Drupal Camp. And there is a code, not here, but I can pass it to you, where you can also get until the end of the week like a DrupalCon discount on the tickets. And you can win lots of tickets. You can win 2 tickets per day during the DrupalCon, taking a picture with me or with one of the other organizing members. So we are like the Merce of the DrupalCon. We also give away one ticket at the factorial stand where you type in your information when you want to have coffee. And there will be other tickets available as well.
You write for the newsletter?
Yes.
And the newsletter is at the stand of the local associations?
Oh, you're right. Thank you. You know better about the event than I do. Yes. Go to the shared association stand. Go to the shared association stand, and there's a QR code that you can scan on one of the slides. It appears every 7 minutes, I think, so you might need to talk to people and wait until the slide comes again on the screen.
That's smart.
But then you can win a ticket as well. Yeah. You can also buy a ticket, of course, but you can also win tickets.
So we have the mountain camp, which is on 25th on March. I think this is again in Davos. There are a lot of mountains in Europe. We can switch mountains maybe.
The fondue is amazing.
Yeah, and it is a vacation trip that includes the Drupal camp. Let's be real. So it's a skiing vacation, and then there's Drupal.
That is an interesting concept. There's in Japan there's this Drupal onsen when you go to a bath house. Yeah.
That's a nice concept.
And Drupal sauna.
That's in Finland, the Drupal sauna. That's like one of the team events there. Yeah.
And we have also confirmed Drupal Iberia in Cáceres on the 4th and 5th of April next year. I'm going to skip over these slides because we are out of time. This is how do I organize Drupal camp with a lot of advice and things that this group has put together. It's going to be available online, and a few resources on how to organize a Drupal event, including a Splash Awards. It's an interesting concept. And also how to stay in the loop, which is not always obvious, right? It's not always obvious how to keep up to date with Drupal news in your local area. And I'm going to finish with, if you want to talk more, there's the BOF. I think Esmeralda organizes that.
Yeah, it says now Network of European Drupal Associations, but it's actually, there are two BOFs back to back. And the first one is called the Local Association Round Table. It starts at 2. And it's actually just one big coming together.
It's a double BOF that starts at 2. 2 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully I'll.
And if you're not time, don't care, just pop in. And if you can be there just for half an hour, that's fine. Just pop in.
Okay.
I'll be back. It's over my.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So anyway, the BOF is starts at 2. Just show up and it will be fine. Yeah, thank you very much.
And there's as someone was saying, there's a booth for it's a new thing. There's a booth on the sponsors area. I think on the left side, with the European Drupal Association. I think you can win a ticket every 7 minutes for Drupal Week Berlin. Then I've been told.
Yeah, and maybe because it's called a network of Drupal associations, European Drupal Association, but you can just skip the European and you can skip the association part. But because some countries, they don't have an association, but you have active people in camps, or the most active people are in the camps and not in the board of any association. So just if you feel like, oh, I can get information or I can share something, just come put your email in the list, and I will invite you, and it's great. Just coming together is fine. Yes.
And these are the wrap-up slides for the contribution. I don't know, Cristina, you want to add something about the contribution day? You will know this more.
About this?
Yeah. It's there. You want to contribute, go there. And then there's the thank you, and we can see and talk to each other the rest of the conference. Well, thank you to the panel, and thank you to everyone that's done.